qualifying any new lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate in a battery, it doesn't happen the day you ship it. It takes 6 months to a year every step of the way. So,
hey, welcome back to The Dive. Our guest today will share his sentiment on Canada's Consumer Price Index, the Federal Reserve, and how he sees the current market, as well as lithium and the company's most recent large land position. He is the president, CEO, and director of United Lithium. Michael Dehn is joining us today. Hey, Michael, welcome back to The Dive. Good to see you again.
hey, Cassandra, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Enjoying summer. Finally, we got some heat in Southern Ontario, almost too much, but summer's here.
I'm definitely not complaining about the heat. I love it. Okay,
Excellent.
so why don't we start off with Canada's CPI? It jumped to 7.7%, a new 39-year high. Do you think that the Bank of Canada will implement a 75 basis point hike in July, just like the Federal Reserve did this month?
I think for sure they will, and maybe even several hikes before the end of the before we hit the fall. I'm a little concerned that interest rates are not quite high enough to curb inflation. We got to, demand is still there, supply isn't, so inflation's kind of kicking in. So I think the interest rates are one of the ways they can cool off the purchasing power of individuals. It's not a pleasant thing to do, but I think they have to do it.
Now, do you think that there is a more effective way that the Fed could determine the path forward rather than looking at the current data?
I think the concern I have about that is with the war in Ukraine. You really can't predict what's going to happen next. If Russia does something a little crazy, it could escalate it and tip things even worse. The decarbonization of Europe too is it's kind of doubled up because now you're not buying Russian oil or natural gas, and everyone has to look for alternatives for vehicles, for heating the homes. So you see surges in coal prices and demands. It's kind of a doubling effect of the decarbonization of the world, and the war did a lot of things we didn't expect it to do to the markets, and I don't think you could have predicted it really happening simultaneously like it has.
Do you think that we could be heading into a recession?
I kind of think Canada is a little insulated, more so probably than almost anywhere else, because we do still have a very strong agricultural industry in the West. We do have the natural resources, oil and gas as well. What people, we're looking at 1 billion people that are going to face food crisis this year. We're looking at another 1 billion people are going to face an energy crisis this year. I don't think we're going to be affected by those concerns so much. Our costs will rise, but we have availability of food. I don't think it's going to be people who are already having problems feeding themselves are going to continue to have that problem. But will we run out of food in the stores? I don't think so.
So with the current macro environment, is there anything really worth buying at this time? Or do you think it's better to be sitting in cash and out of the market?
Well, I mean, cash, you can make money now on interest rates in the bank, which you couldn't do. I mean, it was almost negative interest rates for the last 10 years. So there is some benefit to having cash, but I like the critical metals, anything related to energy metals, cobalt, lithium. You look at some of the other specialty metals, boron. There's 6 tons of boron in every offshore wind farm, and I mean, other than 20 multi borax in my grandmother's laundry room, I really didn't know much about boron. So there's things out there that people haven't been thinking of that are all of a sudden becoming essential. And gold's, I'm an anti-crypto guy. I think cattle farts are as good as cryptocurrencies because you can't see them, but they're there. But when it comes to gold, there's always a bit of a religious and cultural holding for gold, and I think that will continue. And it's been staying pretty stable.
So do you think that with everything going on with crypto falling, do you think it'll be a reversal back to gold then?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's a bit of a shakeup, and I honestly believe a lot of money coming out of Asia and Russia was using cryptocurrencies to move things sort of a little illegally. in large quantities out of the countries. I mean, there's a lot of crypto millionaires that are millennials here in North America. And I know a few guys who actually mortgaged their homes to buy more crypto, and they're just kind of pulling their hair out right now.
Okay, so you have over 25 years experience in the mining industry. Is this maybe one of the most uncertain times that you've seen in your career?
Look, I guess from a global perspective, it doesn't seem as bad as right after Bre-X. I mean, when Bre-X hit, the mining industry was decimated. Even the majors and the juniors couldn't raise capital, nobody wanted to talk to you. Now we're having a problem in the broader market. So it's not just affecting the mining industry, it's more global. So I don't see this as big a hit to the mining industry. I actually think it's bullish in many ways for us. It's just there's right now a bit of a market crisis. We had the same feeling, I guess, when the marijuana stocks were the big thing, the crypto stocks were the big thing, and then the psychedelic stocks. All that money that used to go into mining went into those other investment opportunities, and now I think it's coming back to mining.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about lithium. Goldman Sachs made headlines when it warned that the run in lithium prices will go into a reverse this year as supply from unconventional new sources overwhelms demand. So after their bearish forecast, they set off backlash amongst industry experts. Where do you sit in this debate?
The Goldman Sachs analysis was kind of ridiculous. I think they need to have a little bit more science to what they're talking about. Their expectation is every lithium project that's got any resource that doesn't even have proven technology is going to come into play. And that's not going to happen. And qualifying any new lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate in a battery, it doesn't happen the day you ship it. It takes 6 months to a year every step of the way. So even after something starts producing, it's not going to get into consumer products for over a year. So I think there's a lot of naivety in some of the investment bankers who haven't covered the space before, and not enough science.
So let's move on and talk about United Lithium. You announced an established large land position in South Dakota. Could you walk us through this, and what is exciting you here?
Yeah, we Bob Schaefer and myself, Bob's one of our directors. We've been looking at other hard rock opportunities, and South Dakota, I have some familiarity with. When I worked at Gold Corp, we had 2 gold mines in the Black Hills, and there was always this I guess pegmatites with spodumene that were the spodumene crystals were the size of a railway car or a school bus. So gigantic crystals, some of the biggest in the world. And we thought, let's see if anyone's staked. And we looked at the Bureau of Land Management maps, and there was no lithium claim stake. So we thought, well, here's an opportunity for us. Let's get going. Looks like now Iris out of Australia is sort of piggybacking on what we've been doing. They've staked onto us in part of South Dakota. But we're very cognizant there's a lot of cultural and environmentally significant areas in South Dakota that we really do not want to get close to. So Crazy Horse and the Native Museum is just about 20 miles north of us, and I think that's a safe distance to be away, but we don't want to be right next to it. Or Mount Rushmore, I don't think we want to be anywhere near Mount Rushmore, because if we start a mine there, you're not going to make a lot of friends. So if we are a little bit, we might not be getting all of the great geology that we really want, but we're being a little cognizant of the community and the environment and culture as we're doing our exploration. And I think that's probably what's proper as a corporate citizen. And hopefully we'll get some new friends in South Dakota, because they understand we're not there to take over the world and wreck the environment.
Absolutely. Okay, so I have one more question for you here, Michael. What should investors be watching out for with United Lithium as we head into the third quarter of 2022?
Well, we should be drilling in Finland near term. We do have 2 drills going in Sweden right now. David Berga's started work on our project in Ontario. South Dakota, we have samples in the lab. We're looking to do some more expansion on other projects in the US. So I'd say there's lots of transactions happening, lots of assays in the lab, and 3 drills will be going for I guess the rest of the summer once Finland gets underway.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on. It was great to catch up and learn a bit more about what's been going on.
Great seeing you again, Cassandra. Take care.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more episodes of The Daily Dive, so be sure to stay tuned by hitting that notification bell, subscribing below, and letting us know in the comments what you think.